Hey guys, how's it going? Distilled Noise here. I'm a minimal and micro house music producer, and I have a YouTube channel in which I share my adventure into the world of music production. In this video, I will show you a little bit how the Micro House Tools by Abstract Sounds works. Micro House Tools is a device made for Ableton for creating very easily drum loops and background loops just using one MIDI channel, because all you need is just in this drum rack. So let's take a look at what this Micro House tool is about. It comes with a project in which you can find many MIDI clips already programmed, so you can check out the device a little bit. So the device is made of mainly two sections. The first one, which is the drum rack, in which you have the macro controls for the first 8 pods of the drum rack, and then the pods with all the different elements of the drum kit. And then you have a second section with other macro controls which are linked to every pod you press on. So as you can see, it changes a little bit when you press on a different pod, and from the first pod to the percussion 2 pod, it's basically the same. So you have the sample selector. That means that you can change between different samples. In fact, if you take a look here, the simpler is in multi-sample mode, so it means there are more sample that you can choose from, and with this knob you can choose among 25 percussions, for example, for the percussion 2. So as you can hear, there are different percussions. Same for the kicks, the claps, etc. Then you have texture 1, which is basically made for percussions, and you can see here there's a random control. So when you press play, the pitch of the note played changes, and there are some cool percussive and subby sounds if you take a look, but also some crackling noises. Then you have texture 2 and 3 put in the simpler in slice mode, and if you see here, you have a random control. So every time you press play, it picks a different slice of the loop, and so the sound changes. And that's really cool for creating backgrounds, because you have a sound that it's always changing a little bit. Also, if you take a look, I didn't mention it, but if you take a look, there's always an FX macro. For example, in the case of the texture, it's there are 2 delays that behave in different ways based on the percentage that you pick. Same for percussion, you have a delay, but it's a little bit more complex than a simple delay, so you can create interesting things and patterns. Then the loops are loops, so you can control them with the release, so you can decide if you want the whole loop or just a hit. Same for loop 2. And then remember that you can always change the loop, and also you can play with the decay and sustain. Same thing for the one shots. You can play with the ADSR, which is always part of the macro controls. So for the kicks, for example, I suggest you to longer the release so it doesn't get cut before the end of the sound. The last 4 pods, extra 1, 2, 3, and 4, are pods made for importing external sounds. So here I just imported a sound, but as you can see, by default they are empty. So drop sample here, so you can just take a loop and drop it here. Don't directly drop it on the pod, because you will lose the macro controls here that are already set for you. So that's it. Now let's try to create a drum loop, and let's see what we can achieve with this tool. So I have something already prepared here. I changed a couple of things. For example, on texture 3, I imported my own drum loop. It's a jazz drum, so this is the sound. I imported it here, and now it sounds like this. So if I take out the effects, you can clearly hear that it's a drum loop, but with the effects it changes a lot and it gets really interesting. Same thing I did for the Extra 3 pod. I imported a pod sound, and then I want to lower down by 2 semitones the sound. We could also automate all of these controls with a Max for Live LFO device. Let's start creating the drum pattern. So let's start from the kick. Clap 1. Hi-hat 1. You can hear that I have a little bit of delay. Hi-hat 2. Take it down a little bit more. The hi-hat 2. Okay, now let's try with the percussions. Okay, so let's put something here, for example, maybe here. Nice. I already have a little bit of delay on this, as you can see. And now let's start with the cool things. So I won't use the texture 1 because I already have a bass line that you will listen to later, but I want to use texture 2 and 3, and this is perfect for creating a little bit of interesting stuff in the background. Yeah. And then texture 3, I want it. What else we could add? Oh, of course, every half measure. And let's try to see if we could get something more interesting. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I could add a filter. And that's it. Okay, and that's it. So I have everything I need. I have my drum loop, I have my background elements to help the groove, I have my pod, and that's all made with one single MIDI track and with this device. So maybe we could work a little bit more on these effects. Let's add something. Let's do something like this before starting with the bass line. Want to copy this. I'll add this clap here, switch this off. Okay, nice. So let's try with the bass line. So guys, thanks for watching the video, hope you liked it. Definitely check the Micro House tools by Abstract Sounds out, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys.